Hi, I'm Costas, and with me today I've got Chris Congreave.
How you doing? Hi.
Now, an interesting fact, Chris, that not that many people know is that we used to work together.
We did when we had proper jobs, yeah.
Yeah, we were a nice little company.
Yeah.
You gave up working there early 2005.
January 2005, yeah.
And that's when you became a full-time professional.
Full-time professional at Magic, that's right, yeah. And you followed me not long after you.
Yeah, I think it was around April-ish. I think it was my birthday, 1st of April. I decided to pack it in.
Take the plunge
and become a full-time
I guess we were lucky that we did it then, before the recession really hit. Probably never would have done it if we hadn't done it then.
No, absolutely. And we're lucky because we've been doing it for quite a while, quite a long time. Due to the recession, we've built up contacts, and especially you've built up contacts, and you know how to work in this business. So you're able to manage more than slightly someone that's giving it up.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to get in and do it, but if you can do it, it's a great way to make a living. I think you'll agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So Magic's gain is office equipment loss, which is what we used to do. Yeah.
Those were the days.
Those were the days.
How are you finding the Magic now versus when you became a full-time professional in 2005?
The business has changed in as much as when I first started doing paid gigs, which was probably, I don't know, maybe 2002 was probably my first paid gig. It used to be a lot of corporate gigs. You used to get stuff. Every week really. It used to be a gig for a bank, hospitality, that kind of event, and big multi-magician gigs as well. Where you find yourself working with 5 or 6 other magicians. So that's very much on the down low these days. You don't get so much corporate work. There is some still there, but not as much as it used to be. But the wedding business has changed really for magicians. We're out there doing a lot of weddings, and these days weddings are sort of midweek, as well as not just Saturdays. So I do a lot of weddings, private parties. What really helped me, I guess, was a lot of residency work. I used to be every week working at restaurants, and I was resident magician at Wolves Football Club, so I used to get a lot of referrals from that, but yeah, it's definitely quieter than it used to be, that's for sure.
But because you've been doing it for so long, you're still managing to get enough gigs to pay your way.
I'll get by most of the time.
Like us all.
Yeah.
Since we're on the same theme about difference, what about your magic? The magic you perform now at a gig versus the magic you did, when you first became a full-time professional?
Well, I don't know about when I first became a professional, but when I first did sort of my first gigs, if you like, I suppose it was first paid gigs, so I was professional. But what you find is you go out there and you've got pockets full of stuff. You're absolutely loaded up with stuff, and so much stuff on your pockets, your suit jacket's bulging out here, and you don't know, you're not quite sure. But I think the more you get into it, your repertoire shrinks down a little bit, and I'll tend to walk around the tables now with maybe 5 or 6 things ready to go as opposed to 30 things, and also you quickly find that the stuff that you've spent years learning when it's your hobby
are not practical.
Absolutely right. The material you need, it's got to be very visual, it's got to be punchy, quick. You've got to be prepared to not use any table space whatsoever. And
that only comes with experience.
Absolutely, yeah.
But saying that...
And no reset, that's very important, no reset.
Instant reset.
Instant reset, yeah, absolutely. Good point, that's kind of what I meant, yeah. But no, seriously, a lot of material now, some of the material that may come out or I may read in a book or see on DVD, I might think it's the greatest thing ever, but if I've got to go and stand up a dark corner and take 2 minutes to reset it,
unless it's one trick you do at the end of the night and you do it once, then
absolutely. Well, that's a different thing as well, isn't it? That's a good point, because you very often at a show you'll get an opportunity to go back and do one thing, or if you're doing a wedding, you might want that one special trick to do for the bride and groom. Okay, so that's a perfect thing to do that. You'd have that set up to do that. Yeah, absolutely.
On Sunday gone, you did a seminar, a workshop with yourself and Gary Jones.
That's right, we did. Yeah.
I found that interesting, and I've been looking on Facebook at people that attended, were giving it rave reviews. And explain a bit about what your intention, what the aim was.
the aim was really for anybody who's at a certain level, who's interested in going out and performing for money, to try and make that leap. And we discussed a lot of the things that you won't read in any magic books anywhere or see on any DVDs, how to approach a table, how to approach a group, how to leave a table, that's very important. All the things that we've picked up over the years. I mean, Gary's been a full-time professional since 1991.
And if he doesn't know how to explain it to someone, I think no one else would.
Well, this is it, and it was, when I first started out, I would have absolutely loved to do something like this, because it would have saved me a lot.
You got a lot of information, and you could have utilised them,
absolutely,
and put them into practice and developed your.
It's all the pitfalls, really. But interestingly, the one thing that I wasn't expecting was there was a few guys who came on the course who have already made that step and are already doing paid gigs, and there was about 4 or 5 semi-professional magicians. And quite busy semi-professional magicians who came on the course, and they took something from it too.
I think it's the old adage where, if you ain't broke, don't fix it. So they performing full time, they're doing what they do and not realising there's a better way to do it.
Well, I mean,
because what works for them, to them it's right, but you giving them a tip might take them that extra step forward. Yeah,
and I mean, anybody who's, to be honest with you, it's always worthwhile looking at somebody else who does it professionally, to watch it. It's like when I go to a lecture, I might watch a lecturer, and if I go away with 1 or 2 things that stick in my mind, then it's really worth it. And just little tips and stuff. Some people were worried about how to approach a group. Well, we gave advice on that. How to, some people find it difficult to perform at a large table. So we gave tips on that, because often I've seen people working at a banquet situation and they'll be entertaining 2 people and the other 10 people at the table are not even aware there's a magician at their table. So it was all that kind of stuff, really. And we taught some tricks as well.
Is it something you plan to do every so often?
It's early days yet, isn't it?
Because to be honest, it's something I would attend.
Okay.
Because I don't do that many gigs due to the nature of the business, but there's something out there that would help me, as you said, approaching a large table.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going out every week performing.
Right.
You sort of lose that.
Right. Interesting you should say that. That was one of the big things that came up on the day, and one of the guys who is a semi-professional performer said that to me. He said because he's only a semi-professional, because he is a semi-professional, he's probably only getting 1 gig a month or every 6 weeks. So he'll get there, and he'll have all the butterflies. When he starts performing, they go. But then because it's so long until his next event, the nerves kick in again. Yeah. So we gave a few tips on how to deal with that as well. I think, in answer to your question, I think if there's interest there, we will do another one. We're talking about it already, because really, I think, to be honest with you, because we've had such positive feedback, and we have had lots of positive feedback, which is really nice, then we will do it again. Next time, possibly though, we may do it over 2 days, because believe it or not, it was all day seminar from 10 till 5. We ran out of time.
And you can cram a lot in those.
We literally ran out of
7
time.
hours.
We overran till about 5:45. People had come from all over the country, so they had to go. And then we were still doing little bits and bobs afterwards, so I think next time it will possibly be over 2 days.
I reckon it can be a regular thing, because there's a lot of people that would like to attend something like this.
It's getting the word out there, isn't it?
That's what you don't expect miracles to happen on the first event. Word of mouth, it builds up, and people that experienced it.
We had 17 attendees.
That's a lot. For the first time. It's
well, in all fairness, because it's a hands-on workshop, we were going to if we got to 25, we were going to cut it there. And then we had a few more people who did say they were coming, who didn't attend for one reason or another. So we did get up to about 23, and then it dropped back to 17. But it was a good number.
What do you call it?
It was the Magician's Workshop.
The Magician's Workshop by Chris Congreave and Gary Jones. Yeah. So if you see it advertised, look into it. You'll definitely get something out of it.
Brilliant stuff.
Now, I wanted to ask you about you as a creator.
Okay, yeah.
Because so far you've created over a dozen effects.
Probably more than that, yeah.
Released them via various companies. How did you get into start creating magic?
Well, do you know what? That's an interesting point. When I first started in magic, I tried to create things from an early time, and I couldn't do it. And I thought to myself that I just wasn't a creative person, right? And that was it. Okay, but creativity is like anything else. It's like a muscle. You have to exercise it. And I started becoming more creative. Well, really, I can put it down to two things. Was when I went full time into magic, I spent more time then thinking about magic and performing magic. Before, I had a full-time job, as we've discussed earlier, so I'd be out of the house till sort of 6 o'clock, and then I've got a little girl at home, and so on and so forth. So I didn't have the time to give to it. And the other thing is, I became friends with, we've already discussed him, Gary Jones. And Gary Jones is a really creative magician. And I think the more you sort of speak to other magicians about things that you're working on, you can bounce ideas off each other, and it all grows from there. Really, it's something that you have to spend time on. And if you've got somebody you can bounce ideas off, then that helps too.
And I'm presuming your creative process is completely different to how it used to be. I
think so. I think the more you get into magic, the more methods that you learn. So you can straight line.
And also you start learning business as well.
Yeah, I guess so. You kind of know what's going to be a commercial effect. You know what's going to work to your audiences.
And that's the key word, isn't it? Commercial.
Yeah. The stuff that I've released, I've tried. I only tend to release stuff that I know will work and I would use myself. Otherwise, there's not much point to it for me. So I would generally start. The way I would do it was I would start with the effect in mind, and then I would think it backwards and try and think of the best possible method for that effect.
I think that makes sense. It's also difficult as well. It's like one of your first releases was Ice Coins. Mm-hmm. Now, Ice Coins wasn't the best seller out there.
I have no idea whether it's sold.
However, it's one of these things that you never know what's going to be a bestseller until you release it. No. But now a lot of tricks are being developed around Omni this, Omni that. Mm-hmm. So if you brought it out now, it would probably do much better. Mm. So it's like, you never know when the time for an effect is.
No, that's right.
But there's always a time.
I was really proud of Ice Coins, to be honest with you. It was something that I still use now, and believe it or not, people who've seen me at shows years ago still talk about it.
I think people's mentality on magic changes as well. A lot of people didn't use an Omni deck until loads of people started talking about it and saying you need to use this.
Martin Sanderson pioneered the Omni deck, really, and it's fantastic. And to be honest, anything like that where a spectator is holding something and it changes, you're going to get your best reactions from. Anybody who doesn't do a sponge ball routine, you're missing out. You look at all these magicians' websites where spectators are going like this. You can bet your life that there's two sponge balls sitting on the table. So sponge balls, Omni deck, anything that and also things using a borrowed object. Strong stuff.
Now this is a treat because before this interview, I filmed some trailer material for a new release that you were releasing with Titanus Magic in Greece. Uh-huh. And we never went through the explanation, so I don't know how this works. Do you want to show it to the viewers? I want to see it performed to me because you only performed it to Don earlier.
Sure, yeah, of course, yeah.
What's it called?
It's called the No Diary Diary.
No Diary Diary.
Yeah. Okay. And the reason for that is it's a diary effect that doesn't use a diary. Clever. I thought about this. Do you know that everybody's got a lucky card? You do because you saw it earlier, right?
Yeah, I do now.
Yeah, you didn't.
We won't lie.
Everybody's got a lucky playing card, okay? Now, I've got a lucky... This, okay, I think is your lucky playing card. I'm pretty sure that's your lucky playing card. In fact, I'm so sure that's your lucky playing card, right, that in here, right, I've got some money and I'm going to bet all the money in my wallet that's your lucky playing card. Now, as you can, this proves that I'm a professional magician now because I've only got a £5 in my wallet.
It's a lot of money. It's a lot of money.
That's 2 gigs there. Right, I'm going to pop it here. So, The way that the lucky playing card comes about is it's to do with your birthday, right? And everybody's birthday has got a different lucky playing card. So, okay, so your birthday is the
1st of April.
The first.
I can't lie about that because a lot of people do know it's 1st of April.
You're a fool. You're a lucky fool. Okay. So as you can see here, right, this is the lucky playing card. Okay, it's got every single day on there. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you have a look there, you'll find that there's a playing card next to every day, right?
Yeah.
Now, first of all, find your birthday.
Yeah, April.
Have you got it?
The 1st.
April the 1st. Now, before you tell me what your card is, right, if you'd have said the 2nd of April, what card would it have been?
4 of clubs.
Okay, if it had been the next one?
8 of hearts.
Okay, and the next one?
6 of spades.
Right, so, and if you look around there, they are all different,
They're
right?
all different, yes.
What's the one that's on your birthday?
3 of clubs.
Okay. Your lucky playing card. If that's not your card, your lucky card, you win a £5. Fair enough?
Fair enough.
Drum roll, please. Big moment coming up. This, your lucky card. Thank you.
What a great trip.
Thanks, mate. You look a bit underwhelmed by that, to be honest. Now, I knew that your lucky card was going to be the 3 of clubs, and I can prove it.
Go
on. You want me to prove it?
Yes, please.
Okay. There was a £5 in my wallet.
Yeah.
And I wrote something on the back of that £5. And Costas, believe it or not, it was your lucky card, the 3 of clubs.
3 of clubs. Well
Thank
done.
you.
That's really good.
Thank you very much, sir.
Now, the great thing about this, there's a lot of people that know my date of birth is the 1st of April, so there's no stooging here, there's nothing we can fix, and there is a different card next to every single date, and...
Well, there's a few repeats.
Well, there is a secret behind it, but yeah, it's great.
It's very deceptive.
It's fantastic, actually. I think it's one of your most preferred releases.
Thank you very much, sir. That's very kind of you to say, sir.
Before we go, is there anything you would like to, any tips or anything to anyone that is deciding to approach magic on a full-time basis?
Yeah, come on my workshop.
That's it.
No. Anybody who's thinking about going into magic on a full-time basis, really, you want to make sure that the stream of work is there before you go full-time. I mean, you hear people who sort of chuck everything in and then go full-time. What I did, I'm not saying this is right, but this worked for me, was I had a steady flow of gigs before I packed my
So
job.
I had an email, I had an email yesterday from someone replying to the newsletter I sent regarding artists being able to produce gimmicks and all that kind of stuff. And he's just given up his full-time job to become a full-time magician. But he hasn't got that many gigs.
Okay.
And I thought that's very brave.
It's very brave, yeah. It may work for him.
My advice would be keep your full-time job as security and do gigs on the side.
I mean, the thing is, right, like I say, there's no right way and wrong way of doing this. Now that person's given up his full-time job, if he's the type of person who can get out there and chase the work down, he's now got 40 hours a week that he hadn't got before to be, approaching hotels, approaching...
That's what it is, isn't it? It's how you approach it, and you've got to be proactive about it. You can't expect someone to phone you for a gig.
See, I've never done that. I've always, and this probably isn't the good advice that I'm imparting, but what I've always done is I've always waited for the work to come to me. I've never advertised anywhere. It's always been word of mouth that's got me work, and I'm quite lucky, really. But if you're that sort of type of a person that's proactive, as you say, to go out there and chase the gigs down, then good luck to you, mate. I'm sure you will be successful, assuming you've got a good act, of course.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much.
Costas, always a pleasure.
Until next time.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.